on Tuesday night of this week, and we're glad everyone is here. Well, one of our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and it'll be led tonight, and I ask you to stand, please. Board Member Lisa Moore. Thank you. We would ask the audience, if you would please, to join us, the board, in a moment of silence. And in our moment tonight, I ask you to please remember the family of Mr. Clarence William Nippers. Mr. Nippers passed away yesterday. He is the father of Sharon Wilson, who works in our accounting department. If you would join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. We have two agendas tonight, and we move nothing on the agendas, and we've already discussed them, so we ought to be in good shape there, and I need a motion to approve the agenda. Ms. Moore, was that you?
Yes.
A second?
Second.
Mr. Young, thank you. All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
And the consent agenda is number 5 on your list there. I need a motion to approve that, please. Mr. Hodge, a second. Mr. Estes, I believe. If there's no comment, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, that gets us down to number 6, I believe. We do have a visitor tonight, and remind Ms. Johnson, Heather Johnson, if you would come to the podium, please. I do not know you, so I apologize. Welcome to the Rutherford County Board of Education. Just remind you, if you would state your name and your address, please, and let you know that you're limited to 3 minutes, and on any topic. And welcome. Mm-hmm.
Archery has offered him a way to participate in the sport with confidence, increasing his social skills, increasing his need for discipline and structure, and it gives him an opportunity to be part of a team, which is a big challenge for any child with autism. The coaches are instrumental in teaching and training. I'm getting nervous.
Oh, don't worry.
And I'm very
So are we.
passionate about my children. Both my children are autistic, so I'm very passionate about speaking about this subject matter. The coaches are instrumental in teaching and training the importance of being part of the team and how it impacts each of them individually and as a group. My son has learned how to be part of a team with coaches who are Coach Adair and Coach Mayer at Rockville Middle, who genuinely cares and supports and encourages each child that participates. Both the coaches and myself have seen personal growth within my son throughout this year. We have seen him become a young man who shows enthusiasm for a sport which he has not shown ever before. Also, he has shown changes in his approach to frustration, which is a big thing for him dealing with autism. He used to talk down about himself, and now he listens as his strengths and areas of correction are pointed out. And then he applies them, and it has shown through the archery program and through Coach Adair and the time that he has taken with him. Archery is an incentive for my son to do well academically as well as behaviors in the classroom setting. This has given him a different perspective about the choices he makes and the impact it has on him and others. Again, a huge challenge for an autistic child. Archery offers structure, discipline, guidance, listening skills, social skills, and acceptance that all children need. I'm a parent that supports this sport and the coaches who offers their personal time and money to help my child and many others. This goes beyond archery. They offer life skills, encouragement, and acceptance. we cannot lose coaches over simple, just simple matters. These coaches offer a lot of their own personal time, but they also offer a lot of support to children like my son that otherwise would not be participating in any other sport because of the confidence that they lack in what they deal with. So I appreciate your time and listening and taking all this into consideration.
Ms. Johnson, thank you very much. Your remarks are much appreciated. Okay. Let's see, Mr. Director, I believe we're on number 7 there, and we get to honor some people, don't we?
We do. We've got some recognitions tonight, so let me kind of get this out of the way first for the audience and for our students that are participating tonight. This meeting is now being streamed, so you can pick it up through the internet, but it will be played again on Rutherford County Cable TV. So if you'd like to come back and look at yourself or see it one more time, you'll get a chance to do that, okay? First tonight, we're talking about the Middle Tennessee sectional basketball tournament winners. And for our middle schools, and we had 2 teams that are sectional winners this year. The first one is Christiana Middle School. It's the girls basketball team. And I'm going to ask Dr. Crystal Hastings if she will come up to the mic, please, and tell us about your coaches and how proud we are of them this evening.
On behalf of Christiana Middle School, I'd like to thank the basketball team, the coaches, the athletic director, Lisa Ezel, that was successful under her leadership and guidance, the coaches, Roger Bonds, Mark Sturbins. This is a new coaching staff. And they did exceptionally well. They worked really hard, they listened, they had great attitudes, and they persevered, and they did a wonderful job. And we're so proud of you all and how you all represented the school.
Can we get them to come up and stand here and with the coaches and all, and so we can give you a hand? We want to recognize you. Is this more intimidating than that whole basketball court? Coach, do you want to add anything about these girls?
And let me just tell you all, they look tiny, but they are mighty.
The only thing I'd like to say is it has been a pleasure coaching these girls. I tell them all the time, I think all 19 of them are mine, and I treat them that way. But they have no idea how much they put in my heart for this year, and it's been a great year. Thank you.
Let's start on your right, and would you say your name loudly now for us, please? Let's start there.
I'm Nora.
Say loud.
I'm Nora. I'm Grace.
I'm Megan.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Destiny.
I'm Tony.
I'm Ella. I'm Cordelia.
I'm Garen.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Angela. I'm Kyra.
I'm Finley.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm Camden.
I'm Brooke.
I'm Kennedy.
You probably have a few high school coaches watching them play also, right? I'm going to ask for our boys, Mr. Stephen Wayne, Rock Springs Middle School, if you'll come up this evening. We have a boys team winner also.
Just so the audience understands, the sectional championships is as far as you can go in middle school. You can't go any further. There is no state. So this is it's wonderful to win the county, and that's great stuff. But when you start playing other teams from other places on a neutral floor, and this is really quite an honor to have two winners from the same county is great. And I didn't want to steal that thunder, but I want to get it in here before we went any further.
Absolutely, and with that said, you're right. Winning the county tournament is an accomplishment in itself in this county. And the county tournament for us, we played 3 games and won those 3 games for a total of 5 points over a 3-game span, a 2-point, a 2-point, and 1 point. So very exciting tournament. And then moving on into the sectional tournament, which again, that is the highest tournament you can win in the middle school. And winning that, and the games were very similar, very close games. I'm just super proud to be a part of Rock Springs and the organization that we have there. A few things I want to point out regarding Rock Springs is, one, just the support that we have from our school. The teachers showed up for these games in Shelbyville when we played there. One game in particular, we had 31 faculty members in support of our team. So that's just... Yeah. But also our boys, we tell them every day, they lead by example every day. And a few things, I've received emails from parents, community members, visitors, and other teams just saying how proud that they are of seeing the type of character that our boys demonstrate. And one email I want to point out is this one. I'll read it. It says, "The Rock Springs boys basketball team stopped by my store this morning. The coaches and players are doing great things. I just want to inform you on how polite, well-mannered, and clean the team was. Before leaving, the players asked for a towel so that they could clean up after their mess, and they didn't leave a mess. We have a lot of teams that come here to eat, and this team was by far the best group of boys that we have had. Keep up the good work." So, and that's just the type of character that we see every day from them, in and out of the classroom. A lot of them have been nominated Student of the Weeks. They've been on honor roll, principal's list, and Coach Chestnut today told me that they have a combined GPA of around right at 3.5. So just outstanding student athletes that we have. And here beside me, I've got Coach Chestnut, and he was named our Rutherford County Middle School Boys Coach of the Year. So again, congratulations to Coach Chestnut.
Boys, come on up. Young men, we want you to be seen also. Coach Chestnut, we'll give you the mic. Talk about these boys.
Well, first, let me just say thank you, and it's an honor for the board, Rutherford County, inviting us here tonight. Big thank you for that. Also, thank you to Mr. Wayne for just being, a great leader at our school. It's a pleasure to work for him. It's a pleasure to be at Rock Springs Middle. And what can I say about these boys? I love them. When I started coaching 3 years ago as a head coach, they were my 8th graders. Now they were all 6th graders. So it's kind of like, we grew together. We grew from 6th grade, 7th grade to 8th grade, and then we were able to accomplish something special. So this is a special group. They'll always have a place in my heart, and they know that I'll always be there for them. Thank you.
Let's let them. Let's get them to introduce themselves also, please.
I'm Nathan Hampton. We ride horses. I'm Tony Allen. I'm Garris Lee. I'm Concord. What's your name? Jacob Page. Yeah, Smith. Alex Gary.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Justice, would you please come up? We now are about to honor a national team that won the national this year. This isn't the first time, though, really. Dr. Justice?
Dr. Justice, would you just hold on just 1 second, please?
Sure.
I just wanted to point out Mr. Chestnut back there, Coach. Everybody's looking at you now, okay? His father also won this award, and his father is Jerry Chestnut, legend Jerry Chestnut, who's still coaching at Rockvale Middle. Pretty impressive.
So you defeated your dad?
At some point.
Is that right?
He's coaching.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Justice. I appreciate that.
It's always nice when a program at your school gets recognized, and so I'd like to start by just thanking the board for having us up here tonight and the other schools as well. We appreciate that. So it's especially nice when a program doesn't just focus on athletics, but the focus is on academics and leadership and service and character. And I know that our coaches are going to talk a little bit more about that, and so I'll let you do that. But we're very proud of our national champions. I would also like to give a shout out to Dr. Conifee Marlin, who has been supervising the cheerleading squads at the school for at least 4 years now, right? And has done an amazing job and has traveled with the squad to Florida the last few years. And this year, we had a little medical issue, and she was right there with them, and we were so very glad that she was there with our team. And I think you got a white jacket, didn't you? But you didn't wear that tonight. Yeah. But thank you again for having them and recognizing this squad. And if the coaches want to come up.
I just want to reiterate, first of all, my name's Courtney Gregory, and this is Heather Workman. She and I have been coaching at Blackman together, the cheerleaders, for about 15 years. So we always appreciate every opportunity that you guys give us to talk about our team and to celebrate their successes. It means so much to be recognized not only within our sports community, we get a lot of that, but within the Murfreesboro community, that's a big deal. And so thank you for that. We're so incredibly proud of this national championship, but as Dr. Justice said, we're even more proud of the kind of kid that we have on this team that is able to achieve these accomplishments. Our team GPA is a 3.63. The vast majority of our students are taking honors and advanced placement courses, so they're able to maintain excellent grades because we found that when you're disciplined in one area of your life, self-disciplined, that generally carries over and you become self-disciplined in other areas of your life. So we're glad we're able to provide a space for these kids to have those kinds of successes and be self-disciplined. While we're here to recognize these kids and their accomplishments, we have some thank yous. And if I asked the kids this morning, hey, I need some help, what do I need to talk about? And they said, we need to thank a lot of folks. First and foremost, we want to thank Dr. Odom in the central office for allowing us and several other local teams to compete among the most elite teams in the country year after year. We're so thankful that you allow us to go on this trip. This year, our team competed against 40 teams from across the country, and we scored a 94.3. Now, that may not mean much here, but I'm going to tell you what that means. It was not only the highest score in the history of Blackman cheerleading. This year, that was the highest score of any team in any division at the entire competition of over 600 teams. So we were really #1 this year, so that was exciting. We're also very grateful for Dr. Justice for her avid support of our program and our goals, as well as she said, Dr. Conifee Marlin, who has attended nationals with our team for the past couple of years. Having administrators who care and support your team's success, it's honestly just so much fun. It's so fun to see the smile on their face because they're so excited and right there with us along the way. Dr. Conifee Marlin was at every practice, every team meeting, every performance at nationals, side by side with us, and it just meant the world to us that she was as encouraging and motivational to our kids as the two of us were. Like I said, they say it takes a village, and I think we have one of the best villages around. We've got tremendous parent support, board support, administrative support, so I just don't know what more we could ask for, so thank you for that. Ms. Wortman's going to touch on one other thing.
Just additionally, these kids, our first primary focus is football. We love to cheer football, and if you ask these kids, they love to compete, but their first goal is to cheer football games. They would do nothing for that. So they also love to do community service around Rutherford County. You might have seen them out doing some community service projects. Additionally, countless hours of competitions, like she said, and then many hours of practice. And so they truly are student athletes. And many of our graduating seniors will continue on at the collegiate level. And we're very proud of their accomplishments, and we look forward to what they'll continue to do in the future. And so we're ever so humbled and extremely appreciative of the honors bestowed upon our team, and our squad will continuously strive to maintain that level of excellence both in and out of the classroom. So again, we're honored to be recognized, and thank you so much for your support.
Let's bring them up here,
yes.
Okay? We want them to introduce themselves also. Yes.
I'm Kelly Dorsey. I'm Sally Colorio. I'm Hannah Hicks. I'm Bree Dando. I'm Sophia Brennan. I'm Katie Estrada. I'm Summer Lister. I'm Maddie Grace Hamish. I'm Haley Fulmer. I'm Skylar Pittman. I'm Caroline Thomason. I'm Maddie Lynn Helson. I'm Lexi Cantrell. I'm Mary Washington. I'm Mary Jo Blake. I'm Sheila Wilson. I'm Cameron Staggs. I'm Christina Hughes. I'm Leona Rashidi.
I'm Ethan Dolan.
I'm Gary Conline. I'm Justin Miller.
I'm Connor Jordan.
I'm Mason Griffith.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It's not clear to me why every child in the room had a GPA higher than mine. I don't understand. Considerably, I might add. I ask you to stick with us for a minute or two. We've got kind of an unusual situation here, but a very good one. We have an award to present that's not on the agenda because we wanted to keep it a secret, and the board is not even aware of it. And with that said, I want to introduce a person who you already know. This is Senator Bill Ketron. Mr. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee and of the board. But I have brought along with me my new associate. This is Senator Shane Reeves, who's newly elected.
And I want to apologize for not introducing you. We've never met, so now we've met.
He's actually celebrating 1 week as a senator, one week as of today. But it's a great pleasure. If ask permission for Mr. Odom, Dr. Odom, to join us up here at the well, please. We have a nice presentation, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. We'd like to make this presentation, and if I could take just a few moments to read this, because I think it's well worth it. I'm old now, Don. I got to get my glasses out, all right? This is a Senate joint resolution to recognize Don Odom on the occasion of his retirement. Whereas it's fitting that the members of the legislative body should specially recognize, particularly on the occasion of their retirement, those outstanding school administrators who have devoted their careers to providing the highest quality education for Tennessee students. Whereas one outstanding individual is Don Odom, who will soon take a much-deserved retirement from Rutherford County Schools, which he has served as director of schools since July 1st of 2012. And whereas officially retiring on June 30th, 2018, Don Odom will complete an exemplary 50-year career as an educator with Rutherford County Schools, having begun his illustrious life's work as a math teacher for 4 years at Kittrell School before becoming the head of the math department for 3 years at Oakland High School. Whereas Mr. Odom also enjoys a 23-year tenure as principal in Smyrna, spending 22 years at David Urey Elementary and 1 year at Old Rock School. Whereas joining the central office staff, Don Odom was an attendance coordinator for the school district for 5 years before being named assistant superintendent. Whereas during his 9-year tenure as Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, he played an integral role in the transformation of Central Magnet School from a middle school to a magnet school of high achievers, which opened in 2010. And whereas since taking the reins of 45,000 student school district in 2012, Don Odom's leadership skills and dedication to the excellence in education have resulted in Rutherford County enjoying a 95% graduation rate, and national acclaim at Central Magnet School was recognized as the top school in Tennessee and 37th in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. And whereas Don Odom's accomplishments while Director of Schools of Rutherford County also include the opening of Stewart's Creek High School in Smyrna in 2013, the opening of new and larger John Coleman Elementary School in Smyrna in 2017, and the scheduled opening of Rockville High School in the summer of 2019. Whereas throughout his estimable career, Don Odom has demonstrated the utmost professionalism, ability, and integrity, winning the unbridled respect and admiration of the students, parents, teachers, and school board members of the Rutherford County school system. And therefore be it resolved by the state of the 110th General Assembly of the state of Tennessee, the House of Representatives concurring that we extend to Don Odom a heartfelt wishes for a happy and fulfilling retirement, applaud his dedication to the youth of Tennessee, and wish him much happiness and ever continued success in the future endeavors. Signed by Governor Bill Haslam, Speaker of the House of Representatives Beth Harwell, Speaker of the Senate Randy McNally, myself, Representative Don White, Representative Tim Rudd, Representative Brian Terry, and Representative Mike Sparks. We had this framed before he was elected, so it didn't get a chance to sign it. So, yeah, we signed it back, but we'd like to make this presentation.
Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Shay. How are you?
Oh, Sean. Very hard.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, of course. Thank you.
Congratulations. Glad to have you.
Well,
Thank you, sir, for all you do.
now, this is all.
She didn't tell me.
I didn't know it until I got here.
Oh,
Give you
Congratulations.
Get to the next guy.
thank you.
Yes.
Story is your secret.
And let me.
You're fine.
Mm-hmm. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me say a word. That's SRO.
Mm-hmm.
Audience, thank you very much for being patient with us. Appreciate it, and that was quite an honor, and we just love it up here when we get to, particularly our director, and when we can honor students. We thoroughly enjoy that. We're going to have the director will introduce someone in just a second. I just want to tell you, in case you're not aware of it, the board will not pay any attention to what's behind us because it's right here. You just can't see it. So I didn't want you to think we were not paying any attention because we are. Okay, Mr. Director, go ahead.
Well, I would say that certainly was a surprise, Mr. Joyce. And just if I might take just a brief moment, upon anybody that finds themselves in a leadership position absolutely knows it's those hundreds of people out in the field that's teaching in the classroom, their staffs in the building, classified and certified in every building, the people at the central office here. Rutherford County Schools is not at all about one person, but it's about a lot of wonderful people that are so dedicated in what they do for the boys and girls of Rutherford County. We're very fortunate to have these people working for us and working for the boys and girls. So thank you. Thank you, board, very much, and thank you this evening. Let's get back to our agenda, okay? Number 8, we have an archery program update. Mr. Eric Bonanno is going to come up and do a presentation, I think, for us this evening.
That's going to be a tough act to follow. So I'd like to thank the board, Mr. Odom, Chairman Jordan, for allowing me to come and speak and let you all know what's going on in archery in this county. We've got 70 faculty, SRO, non-faculty coaches that at 27 schools, coaching probably over 1,300 students throughout the county that are participating, and these coaches are spending countless hours with their teams. So what I want to talk a little bit about is how we got started here in the county and why we chose the National Archery in Schools program, and then the benefits of what archery is bringing to our students, and then why I really here is, to ask the board to consider putting us permanently on the supplement list. So the history of NASP in Rutherford County, we've started about 2010. The SROs brought the program to one or two of the middle schools, but the middle school SROs were pretty involved with what their activities were already, and it didn't really take off. The SROs then introduced it to the elementary schools, where it really took off. In 2010, Buchanan Elementary and Christiana Elementary both started programs. They both participated in the state tournament that year, and the program has grown to where we are now, where we have 1,300 students. 27 of the 47 schools that are eligible to have a program have programs. So we have 27 schools within the county that have programs. That equates to 11 of our 24 elementary schools, 12 of our middle schools, 12 of the 14, and then 7 of our 10 high schools have programs. Okay? The percentages you see there on the screen, those are pretty consistent with what the numbers that are participating at those schools. But the only thing is that number of 1,300 keeps growing each year as we add a school or more each year. Okay? Our county has had 32 teams place in the top 3 at the state tournament since 2010. We've got 13 state titles, 5 elementary titles. The middle school have won the last 6 titles at the state level, and our high school has won the last 2. Hopefully next Thursday we'll add to this list, because our state tournament is next Thursday at Miller Coliseum. We'd like to invite all of you out to come support our teams. Okay? Individually, we've got 16 individual state title winners in their divisions. 4 of those are elementary, 2 female, 2 male. 7 middle school titles, 3 female, 4 male, and 3 total high school titles, 1 female and 2 males. Okay? The high school champions were also the overall state champions the years they won that. Okay? Why NASP? NASP was developed to improve focus, student motivation, attention, behavior, attendance, all while trying to get students to participate more in outdoor activities and get outdoors more. And so when we started this program, NASP was really small, and it's grown. There were 15,000 archers participated in the national tournament last year from all over the country. This program has students developing listening skills and observation skills that help them strive and achieve state and national education standards. Another benefit is the promotion of graduation due to students being engaged in their educational process. And, you know, they develop positive relationships with not only the faculty, but their peers. To ensure that this is not just an after-school program, NASP has established rules that the schools must teach NASP-style archery during the school day for a minimum of 10 hours each year. The training that is required to do that is currently provided for free of charge for any certified teacher that wants to do this. At no cost to the teacher or to the school, the teachers can be trained. To help educators with that, NASP has developed a curriculum for both the elementary school, middle school, and the high school level, so that involves cross-curricular activities with math, social studies, PE. They have this curriculum that the coaches can follow or the teachers can follow so that they can teach the students not only archery, but the history of archery, the math behind it, the physics behind it. There's lots of educational value in archery. These rules also dictate how we run county tournaments. We host 14 tournaments each year. This allows us to maintain fairness and safety in the sport. The rules give us the participation for the students. You know, they've got to be enrolled in the school that's participating in a NASP program. They tell us what equipment they have to use, the safety protocol, the scoring. All of that is dictated in those rules. Every child is required to use the same unmodified bow and same type of arrow from the time they're in 4th grade all the way through when they graduate in 12th grade. No student is ever required to purchase this equipment, as the school provides that equipment for them. The teams will provide the equipment for them, but if they want to buy that equipment, it is readily available for about $200. They can purchase a bow that they can use their entire school career. Our coaches spend pretty much all year coaching archery. We start in September, and our state title is at the end of March. That equates to about 26 weeks. If we qualify for the national tournament, that extends our season into May. And then if we choose to participate in the world tournament, that can extend our season into June and July. We practice 2 to 3 times a week. We're limited on our practice space, which extends our practices. If we had a large space that we could practice, where most schools have 30 to 40 archers on a team, and it's hard to practice in the cafeteria with 40 kids. My personal experience, I've got 60 because I have 2 teams, and we practice in the cafeteria there at Central. And you all have been to the cafeteria at Central, it's pretty small. So our practices run long because we're trying to get each archer a chance to practice their skill, and because of the limited space, we have to extend our practices. The additional hours that we spend communicating, maintaining the equipment, believe it or not, those bows don't maintain themselves, and we have to maintain that equipment, contacting parents, setting up tournaments, registering for tournaments. All of that adds to the time. We also participate in tournaments on weekends. Our tournaments are held in school gyms because that's about the only place in the building that's big enough to hold a tournament. And so due to availability of the gym, we need to practice or hold the tournaments in the gym on weekends when the gym's not being used. All of this totals up to about 300 to 400 hours of our time each year. In addition, as I've mentioned before, our state tournament has been on our spring break every year. TWRA sets that date. They are our governing body within the state. NASP chooses a program coordinator for each state, and Tennessee Wildlife is our coordinator for our state. They run and host that tournament and set that date every year. All this time is in addition to the hours that this Rutherford County Schools has hired these faculty members to plan, teach, communicate with their parents, the job that they were really hired to do. In order to coach NASP, each coach is required to take an 8-hour certification class. This class is required to be taken before they can start a program, coach a program. We also attend additional training sessions, professional development to help hone our skills in teaching archery better to these students. So, our benefits. There are lots of benefits. Archery is not just about the competition. We have tournaments that push our archers into situations that allow them to build character. Each archer is paired with another archer on the range, and both archers are shooting on the same target. They score each other. We've had many occasions where a more experienced archer always is helping out a younger archer as tournaments are going along, especially the newer archer that's never been to a tournament. This allows the students to interact at different levels and make friendships and bonds, not only within the building, but across the county. We have archers that have become lifelong friends that never attended school together. Archery is fully inclusive. There's not a single student in our building that could not do archery. All ages, all athleticism, all kinds of backgrounds, disabilities, we have them all, okay? Some of our top archers would never succeed in sports like basketball, baseball, or like that, but they have succeeded in archery. We've got students that have disabilities. You heard from a parent earlier tonight. Her child has autism. We have the adaptive archer that you see in the picture on the screen there. She's missing an arm. She draws that bow back with her teeth. Coach Gessinger, she's at Stewart's Creek, said she shot her highest score at the county tournament on Saturday, improved 90 points this year. So this sport is only limited to the student's willingness to participate. Not only does we create champions, NASP has also incorporated a academic archer recognition program. Last year we had 251 archers that were recognized as academic archers. That program is self-reported, so there could have been more, as coaches probably had either forgotten to report or didn't report because the program is a little cumbersome. Our program teaches stress management. Our archers are put into competition where they have to deal with stress. Every archer has to, is failing every time they shoot. The perfect score is 300. When they start out, they fail lots. But every archer tries for that 300, but it's rarely reached, rarely. And so as they do the sport, they're understanding how failure can be overcome. And so this sport requires precision, control, focus, repetition, determination. These skills are all needed in what the classroom and make better students. We've had students that have had grade and discipline issues that once they got into archery, those problems went away because they wanted to be involved in the archery team, and if they didn't have the grades or the discipline, they would not be. It's safe. It's statistically one of the world's safest sports. The National Safety Council says it's 3 times safer than golf. So I do not know of a single accident in any one of our schools since we've started this. I'm going to knock on wood, because as soon as I said that, it's going to happen. But knock on wood, we've not had a single accident. To ensure the safety of the students, NASP sets up a whistle system, range etiquette, and scoring system, all to provide these archers safety. Every coach in the county provides training at the beginning of the year before they even put a single bow in any archer's hand. Those archers know what safety is before they shoot. Community involvement. Our biggest tournament in our county is the Mossy Oak tournament in February. Mossy Oak has sponsored our tournament. This tournament brings in over 1,000 archers each year from not only the Middle Tennessee area, but all over the state and from outside of the state. We had schools from Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina. We've had schools from all over the Southeast come to this tournament. We also set up vendor booths for local businesses to come in at that tournament. It's great exposure for those businesses to have all of those parents and children coming in there. One of our biggest charity events that the SROs hold is the Zombie Shoot in October. That is staffed by our archers and coaches, as well as the SROs, but they use that to help raise money for Special Olympics. Archery is also one of the cheapest sports that they can participate in school. Most schools charge less than $100, more like about $75 for most schools. These fees are used to purchase new equipment, maintain the existing equipment, and pay for the entry fees for the state and national tournaments. At the collegiate level, it's growing. It's not where football and baseball and basketball is, but it is growing. According to the National Collegiate Archery Association, there was 193 colleges that had archery, some type of archery program at the college level. Last year, Bethel University gave away 5 $20,000 scholarships to the top 5 archers in each gender at the state tournament. We also had another archer receive a $40,000 athletic scholarship to Cumberland University in Lebanon. Other opportunities, when we participate at nationals, the top 3 national high school teams, every member of those teams receive a cash scholarship, with the first place getting $1,000 and third place getting $500. As you can see, second place gets $750. Individually, they also give cash scholarships to the national top 5 national, just depending on, it doesn't depend on gender, it's the top 5 scores. And those range from $20,000 to $2,500. Okay? What I would like for you to do is hear the student perspective. Okay? I have Allison Blanton and Sarah Carmichael here to talk a little bit.
Hi. Sorry, I'm one of those people that can't play basketball, so I do archery. My name's Allison Blanton, and I'm a senior at Central Magnet School, and I came here to talk to you a little bit about my experience with archery. So first, a little bit about me. I've been in archery for 5 years now, and currently I'm the captain of my school's archery team. In doing this sport, I feel that I've had a lot of success in my 5 years that I've been doing this. And it's definitely done a lot for me as just a person in general. One of the biggest things that I think archery has done for me is it's helped me grow my confidence. When I started in 8th grade, I know that I had very low self-esteem. I was extremely shy, and I really, really didn't like to talk to people or in front of people. So, obviously that's changed, but because of archery, I was forced every week to go and meet someone that I didn't know. I had to talk to coaches, kids that were older and younger and every other size and shape and color that were different from me. And it really gives you a lot of perspective, and it teaches you to talk to a lot of different people about a lot of different stuff. But more on the side of being the team captain, I have been lucky enough to form really strong relationships with almost all of the 60 archers that we have on our team. And it's really awesome to walk down the hallway every morning and say good morning to 60 people as I walk to class. There is a lot of academic benefits, as everyone's talked about so far, and one of them is our academic archer program. NAS puts a lot of emphasis on academics. And one of the things I'm proud to say that I've been a part of is I was declared a National Academic All-Star. There were 3 other students than me in this county that were part of this team as well. And what it means is basically that not only were these 4 people some of the best archers in our nation, but they also had the highest academics out of our organization. Just the last little thing, I do know that none of this would be possible without our coaches, and I did want to say thank you to all of you people behind me, because I know each one individually, and I know that I wouldn't have been able to develop the skills that I have and I've developed because of archery without them starting these programs.
Hi, so I'm Sarah Carmichael. I am a senior at Oakland High School. I've been doing archery for 6 years. I joined it in 7th grade with my younger brother. Great privilege. But I joined archery because I have been unable to participate in any contact sports or any sports that allow me to sweat because I am physically unable. It got me a part of the middle school because I couldn't do any of the sports that they offered. So I would like to thank those coaches that started that program. But archery as a whole has done a lot for me and for many individuals that I know. It has brought me closer to other people I wouldn't have been able to meet without the archery program. I have been able to build my leadership skills, my educational skills, and just being able to talk to people, my communication with other people. It has also given me opportunities like inside the school and outside of the school. I was able to get a job with Mossy Oak because of this program. I was introduced to the president of Mossy Oak and being able to start my career in the engineering field because of it. Yeah. And I've been able to reach out into other communities that I didn't know existed. So just recently, I got to participate in the Special Olympics run. I was teaching kids with Special Olympics how to shoot archery, how to shoot a small bow, and just seeing the light that lit up inside of them because they were doing something that no one expected them to be able to do. So that was really important to me, just seeing the building of other kids and students. And as a team, I've been able to lead younger classmen or underclassmen to better academics, being able to support them. Someone can come to me that's on the archery team and they talk to me over some of the adults and they'll be like, hey, so-and-so is picking on me, and it's really nice to be able to go out and talk to the coaches and be like, hey, can you fix this for me? So-and-so on the team is having a problem, and that's built the support within the school system on stopping the bullying side of stuff because kids are getting picked on at school or they're getting picked on outside of school and they have a support system to come back to talk. So thank you guys.
All right, I know I've run real long, and I'll try to wrap it up here. Why we want to add a supplement is that without a supplement, it's hard to find coaches to put that amount of time in. We've had to rely heavily on parent volunteers. Parent volunteers are excellent, and we couldn't do this without them, but a lot of times they're short-term. They get involved when their kid is at that level, and when their kid moves up, they're no longer involved at the lower level, and so that's left that school to find yet another coach. We've had programs dissolve because a parent didn't step up or another faculty member did not step up. We've lost Laverne Lake, Laverne Middle, and Campus School in the last few years because there was nobody to take over programs after the coach's child moved out of that school. We would like for it to be consistent. Stability creates longevity and growth in programs, and that's what we'd like to do, is retain the coaching staffs long term. We've found that the board approved the discretionary fund, I believe it was 3 years ago, at the middle school level. We've had very little change in our middle school coaching in that last 3 years. We've had 3 changes. 2 of those is because the coach left that school to move to a different school, and both those coaches started a program at their new school. We feel that with a supplement, we can get faculty members to buy in and be willing to coach archery long term. We think that archery is an excellent sport. It has lots of benefits, and we'd like to provide it at every school in the county. And I talked about the discretionary supplements. We think it's working. Most of our middle school coaches are getting it, and we appreciate the board for putting that in. We'd like to expand that and expand it to the high school level as well as the elementary school level. The elementary schools is where the kids first get introduced to archery, and they fall in love with the sport at that age, and they're lifelong archers from that point. Okay? That the supplement would create stability in our programs with long-term growth and make our programs, we're already pretty good. We want to be better. That national title, we want to be like the cheerleaders. We want to win national titles. We've got this state thing down. We want to win the national titles. So we think that the commitment, the time commitment, the numbers, of athletes that we have, the value that our programs provide is deserving of supplements that are in line with baseball, soccer, those sports, band directors. We're providing as much time with our students as those sports are. This would mean 47 coaches. I know that's a lot. 47 schools that are eligible. If we would like for the board to consider 10% at all those schools. That would equate to about $210,000 a year. But the benefits of archery helps our students with the school skills that they need to succeed, not only in school but in life. If you've not visited one of your schools in your zones and talked with your archery coaches and seen your archery programs, I encourage you to reach out to them, talk with them, and see what archery has done for the students within their building. If you'd have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Mr. Benoit, I've got just a couple. You talked about the tournaments that we host here, and of course, especially with Mossy Oak, I'm guessing that brings considerable revenue into the community as well. I know we had some conversation and I think approved some things as far as an archery building over at Whitworth Buchanan Middle, but I haven't heard an update on that in a long time. Do you know where they're at with that?
Jerry? Sorry. You're the building person, so.
We have raised close to $40,000. I think we're at $39,000. We have some grants that are available. We have not reached out for the grants because they're one-time grants. So we want to make sure, and they all want to see that we have a commitment as a community to that building before they're going to place, or they're going to award grants for us. Our hope is in the fall to do a big push for fundraising for that building, and maybe try, I'd like to hit 100,000 before I reach out for grants. So we're almost halfway. But it's still in the works.
Yes, it's still in the works. We still, I think all the coaches will tell you that if we get that building, not only will we be able to host more tournaments because we'll have a place, but it'll make practicing so much easier. It's hard to get the nets up, and we're putting winches up in cafeterias to make it, some of us are getting older and we need a little assistance with that. So it's been nice that the schools are helping us with that, but we really would like to have that building, and it would be available to everybody. I know it's on the wrong end of the county for Smyrna Laverne, but hopefully if we get one done that, we'll get the support of and get more teams involved, we'll be able to do one on both ends of the county is our hope.
Any other questions?
Ms. Moore, you might want to share with them the timeline and our where the procedure goes from here, if you would, please.
Thank all of the parents and the archers that came out tonight. It certainly shows a lot of dedication, and I applaud you. And Mr. Bonono, thank you so much.
I thank the board for allowing me the time to stand up here and give you an update.
It's definitely eye-opening, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that we as a board certainly do support the archery program. I don't want anyone to think for a minute that we don't, and it's become more and more apparent how important it is to the schools and the communities and the kids. So again, thank you. And I just want to let all of you know, first of all, tonight's meeting is not designed to be a budget meeting. It is just a regular school board meeting. So we'll be addressing the question of supplements, and I do plan on making a motion at our next budget meeting to add an archery supplement to our program. Now, I appreciate that. As Mr. Bonono mentioned, there's a lot of coaches, so we're talking some significant dollars here, so I'm certainly not making any promises as to where we'll be, but we'll certainly try to do something. So, but again, that'll be addressed at our next budget meeting, which, Mr. Chairman, that is?
April 2.
April 2nd. So anyway, thank you all again for being here and for sticking with us through the whole evening.
Ms. Carmichael and Ms. Blanton, thank you very much for excellent presentation. I expect to see your name on the ballot as soon as you reach your correct age. Anything else, Ms. Moore, the board? Anything else on archery?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, Ms. Moore, you had done a great job highlighting the success that we've had in the mechatronics program, and as I've heard this presentation this evening, there are two opportunities that the board is is aware of. The Tennessee School Boards Association has a conference once a year, and in the past we have presented the mechatronics program that many of you may be familiar with as a highlighted feature from Rutherford County. And then, of course, in just a couple of weeks, the board will be traveling to the National School Boards Association presentation or conference. This archery program and the success that it has had in Rutherford County, the interaction with the SROs, it is certainly something that the framework that you've put in here, it belongs in a national presentation to be highlighted to the rest of the country because it is inclusive, because it is across all grade levels, because it is across all genders, because it is just such a positive explanation of what education is. Focus, attention to detail, and precision. These are characteristics that certainly translate into the classroom, and I would encourage those who did the work to put this program together to get with Ms. Moore. She has a certain knack for getting these things into conferences and be presented in that kind of context.
There you go.
Audience, you would excuse me, we're going to go ahead with our regular agenda now. There's some fascinating things here coming up. I wouldn't want you to miss them. Mr. Director, number 9.
Number 9 is the 2018-2019 special course request. The instruction department is requesting permission to make an application to offer credit for special courses under the following guidelines. And these are rules and regs. Rule number 0520-1-3-.05-2A. Local school systems may offer special courses not listed in 0520-1-3-.06 on an experimental basis. The Commissioner of Education must approve each course in advance each year. Rutherford County High Schools are requesting approval for the following special course request: American Heroines, Art History, Avid 1, 2, 3, and 4, Entrepreneurship Foundations, Ethical Leadership Seminar, Fairy and Folk Tales, Global Diplomacy, Mythology, Native American History, Organic Chemistry, Positive Psychology, Shakespeare, Strength and Conditioning 1, 2, and 3, Survey of Pop Culture, Tennessee History, the U.S. Presidency, and Writing Labs 1 and 2. Recommend approval. The motion is to approve the 2018-19 special course request for Rutherford County High Schools as presented.
We have briefly discussed this the other night. Are there questions or comments on the motion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, move for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Holliday. A second?
Second.
Ms. Moore, thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Number 10.
Number 10 is the 2017-2018 tenure recommendations. The following teachers meet the criteria for tenure in accordance with the new tenure law. They must hold a valid Tennessee teaching license, must have served Rutherford County Schools for 5 years or 45 months within a 7-year period, the last 2 in regular, not interim positions. They have to have demonstrated an overall performance of above expectations or significantly above expectations on the team evaluation during the last 2 consecutive years of the 5-year period, or if held tenure under the previous guidelines and returned to Rutherford County Schools meets the 2-year probationary period and tenure is reactivated. And so, Mr. Chairman, if I can read the names, or if you're okay, we're good.
Everybody okay that he doesn't read these names? Sure you are. Go ahead, Mr. Director.
The motion, let me get to the bottom here. And the motion would be to approve. Let me get back up to where I was. I don't know whether we've got one on it. Okay. The recommended approval, the motion is to approve the recommendation of the Director of Schools to award tenure to the teachers who met criteria in 2017, 2018.
I didn't mean to make light of it. Obviously, it's very important to these teachers, and it is quite an honor, and the names are on our website, right? If you want to look at those. I need a motion to approve. Mr. Blair, thank you. A second?
Second.
Mr. Young, thank you. Any comments from anyone? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Anybody opposed? No. Number 11, insurance update. You've got some paperwork there. Mr. Sandvik looks like he's readying his mic to speak.
Since it's budget numbers, I'll cover it. The insurance committee met today to set the rate for the effective January of 2019. The deductible plan, we approved a 16% total increase. The changes, the board paying 82 rather than 90% of the individual's cost, and dropping those employees in that plan with family coverage to 80% paid by the employer. We're attempting to control costs. We have very adverse claims history in that plan. The copay plan, a 1% total increase, with the board paying 90 as we have in the past, and 82% of the cost for employees with family coverage. The commission voted 5 or 6 years back to drop what we as an employer, commission, Board of Ed, pay slowly to 80% for family coverage. The HRA plan, we have approved an 8% total increase. There was no change on this plan's employer contributions because we contribute less to the people who opt for this plan than we do either of the other plans. The other option that we had in dealing with the OAP deductible plan would have been to eliminate it January of 2019. If we had made this change, we would have had a 16% total increase for the copay plan and a 12% increase for the HRA plan. So for us at the Board of Ed, we would have had that big of a rate increase on 100% of our employees as opposed to 15%. Just the numbers are that challenging. Dental insurance, a 4% increase with some plan changes. Vision insurance, a 6% increase. These numbers, this recommendation will go to the Budget Committee of the Commission, the first full, I think it's the 5th of April, and then go to the full Commission in April. There also is a recommendation to freeze participation in the OAP deductible plan to employees hired before 5/1/2018 or for retirees who are not already on the plan. That is what we sent forward for the rate proposals for January 2019.
Questions for Mr. Sandvik?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Sandvik, if you would, and maybe for some of our audience that, are following budget items and expenditures and things, kind of this OAP deductible plan, maybe give us just kind of a brief overview of what it is and why it's costing so much more than these other two plans?
I'll not want to go into too much detail. Adverse selection. As the premiums have gone up in that plan, and this has been a multi-year trend, the people who have elected to stay in it tend to be some people with health issues, and the costs in this plan have just been going up. And we do try to look, we have 3 plans, the HRA, the copay, and the deductible, and we've moved toward looking at, and not every year, but most years we look at how the costs are looking for the people enrolled in that plan. We, at one point, the HRA plan was really, we were charging too much for those employees. Not a huge amount, but we didn't want to add an 8% increase to that plan that year, for example. So we held the HRA plan and let the other plans go up. But we look at the costs incurred plan by plan.
Thank you.
And if we have employees watching, the board does not set these rates. They're set by the county commission. So, I mean, so what the board members are hearing is information about what's going to be carried to the county commission.
There's no vote here, is
Right.
what he's saying. County commission will approve this as part of their regular budget, just so they, I don't mean to, please don't take this as a lecture, but if we're talking about archery supplements or gasoline for buses or insurance for our employees, it's not our money, okay? It doesn't belong to these 7 people up here or the director. It's taxpayer money. And we are sworn to take as best care of it as we can and spend it wisely. And now that I've said all that, we've said this numerous times up here, at least the last 10 or 12 years. I've been here for 3, and that is that I suggest, like you maybe, insurance is killing us. Countywide plan. It is brutal on our budget, and we have looked at ways. Mr. Young has taken some leadership role in this. We have to cut this, to figure out a way where it doesn't cost us so much, and without hurting employees that we love. Sometimes it's very difficult to deal with this. But families are dealing with it as well, whether they're insured by us or not. I mean, I am, and I'm not insured by the county. So I assume others are in the same boat that I'm in. Yes, sir.
And another thing that I would like everyone to remember when we say whatever the increase to the employee, the county and or the school board, we are absorbing 80% of the increase, 82% of the increase, 90% of the increase. Yes, our employee costs are going up. The costs as employer are headed up.
I haven't had a chance to speak with Mr. Sammy since he came back from the insurance committee, but in our estimate the other day, the increased cost for us as a school board was $3,750,000. What kind of impact would this have on that? Do you know?
Very little.
So the estimate's still pretty close to that
Still
figure.
very close, I think. Yes, there might have been a couple of $100,000 swing down, but that is on a budget item that in the GPS will probably hit $47 million this next year. So it's rounding error in that.
Any further questions for Mr. Sandy on the insurance? Thank you, sir. Director's update.
I've gotten a lot of attention tonight, but we have someone else that's got some attention too. Let me go out and present this if I could.
Is this award for me, I hope? No, it's not, is it? I know it's not.
If your name is Dr. Andrea Anthony, it is.
Oh.
You already know about this, but you didn't know this was coming. This is a certificate of recognition. I better get to a mic. This is a certificate of recognition that acknowledges that Andrea Anthony is the Mid-Cumberland Supervisor of the Year, signed by Dale Lynch, TOSS Executive Director for the 2017-2018 school year. Congratulations, Dr. Anthony.
Thank you. That was a surprise. I'm very honored to serve our district and to represent all of our different activities that we do throughout our district. So it's a very nice token. I'll treasure it.
Thank you, Dr. Anthony.
I do not have anything else.
Nothing else? Ms. Moore, TLN.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, a couple of things. And first of all, I need to clarify that I misspoke the other night when we were talking about safety and the subject of teachers carrying firearms came up. There has been some movement with that bill, and so I just want to cover that real quickly. This is the bill that would allow trained teachers to carry concealed firearms on school property, and it did pass through the House committee. And just a couple of highlights of this bill, because I know this is something that a lot of people are following very closely, and a lot of people are very concerned about one way or the other. It says, the bill allows private certified firearms instructors and local law enforcement agencies to train teachers who are allowed to carry concealed firearms on school property. It passed the House Civil Justice Committee by a vote of 8-3. The bill is permissive, it says, in that each individual LEA or local education association can opt in, but is not compelled to participate in the training and allowing teachers to conceal carry on school property. It says teachers will volunteer and not be forced to be, and will be trained, will have a permit holder, will be selected by the school director along with a principal from those who volunteer to complete training with no more than one teacher per 75 students. The bill will next be heard by the House Education, Administration, and Planning Committee on March 27th. A couple of other updates on some bills that we've been following real closely, one of them being the BEP funding for school nurses and the fact that we've been making pleas to the state to give us more funding for nurses because we are very, very short with all the demands that it puts on them now. And it looks like right now that bill has been deferred for summer study. So unfortunately, we're not going to see anything come of it this legislative session, but we'll keep plugging away on that. Also, the bill that was sponsored by our local reps, well, Senator Ketron, who was here earlier, and our House Representative Tim Rudd, the bill that places a moratorium on the testing, says that it prohibits the Department, State Board of Education from mandating any assessments for any grades or subjects beyond those that were already in place for the 2016-17 year, and it was passed on first consideration on the 15th of March, so that's a little outdated information. But Mr. Odom, is there anything else that I know you follow all of this real closely, that I might have missed?
Not really. I have not heard there were something like in the Senate Education Committee 73 bills. I looked at about 10 minutes of it yesterday, yeah. And I just haven't gotten a summary of what really happened yesterday.
Hopefully we will have a report on it after spring break. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Moore. Mr. Holliday?
We'll stand as presented Tuesday night.
I'm sorry, sir?
We're going to stand as presented Tuesday night on federal.
Okay. General discussion by board members. Any topic? I'm not hearing anything. Ms. Michaels, you have the schedule in front of you there. When are we back together? Is it April 2nd? Is that our next budget meeting? All 5 o'clock. Next week is spring break. I know how our teachers hate that. Students too. Anything else from the board? Last chance. Thank you so much for your input, and thanks to the audience and the people that spoke and the topics discussed. Much appreciated by this board. We are adjourned.